Welcome to the Wokest Warren, where we have the Wokest Discourse. Tonight, I want to talk about two very similar phenomena. Fed jacketing and reverse racism. Now, if you don't know what either of these things are, don't worry about it because we're going to define them. So I'll start with the definitions. Fed jacketing is when you're in a clandestine group of people, or, not necessarily a clandestine group, but a group that the feds might be investigating. It could be a criminal enterprise, or it could be a Marxist reading group. But the fact is that there are infiltrators. It maybe at some points is Department of Homeland Security. At other points, there are professional infiltrators that are hired by capitalists to basically just like disrupt and fuck up any kind of leftist space that they can find. So if you're in one of these organizations, it doesn't even need to be like an organization. It could just be like an anarchist collective. Anyway, if you're in one of these organizations, you are aware that there are nefarious forces that will go undercover like Donnie Brasco into your organization purposely to set you up for a prison record. Okay, this is how they got Fred Hampton. They find somebody that they can put into your group. So what is Fed jacketing? Fed jacketing is when you say to the other members of your group, I think that Mr. Pink, one of the members of our group, is actually a Fed, right? Like you're saying, like, you think that guy's like doing like Donnie Brasco. He's an infiltrator or a snitch or a cop or whatever, alien to your group. This is a tactic that's been documented that the feds use to disrupt groups. Okay, so the way to counter it is to recognize that the feds are doing this to us all the time. This is like the cost of doing business. This is just what happens. And so you have to treat every person in the group as if they could be a Fed. Like, you might know that person intimately. You think, there was a case in the, what do they call them? Like the water protectors on one of the pipelines who had an encampment. There was a federal agent who not only infiltrated this group of water protectors, was having sex with a female that was under investigation, had a whole ass fake relationship with her and got her pregnant. Like, she had this dude's baby. Tell me how disgusting that is. It's disgusting. And you don't ever like to think about somebody in your group could be that person. Somebody in that group could be Donnie Brasco, or the dude who, like, got Fred Hampton killed. it's a reality. But if you accuse someone in your group of being a Fed, you do the work of the Feds for them because they want you to turn on each other, right? They don't want there to be any unity in your group. They don't want there to be any solidarity or trust in your group. So what you have to do is you have to just treat everybody as if, you know what, this person could be a Fed, but I'm not going to say anything because it will do more harm to this group than this person will. And you just have to hope that's true. This is very similar to reverse racism. So reverse racism is a erroneous concept that some white people have, that they are somehow victims of racism because affirmative action was a thing that used to actually exist. Okay? So for a very brief time period in a very specific type of workplace, unionized workplace, there was a moment in history where if you were someone who was affected by affirmative action, you could like get away with bullshit at work. And this is something that actually happened. And but it was very, very, very seldom, and did not impact like a proportion of the population. It was just like a known thing here and there. Every once in a while, somebody gets away with something because they're a minority. That is not the intent of the system. That's just a byproduct of the system. And you just accept that and you go, you know what? Okay. Like, maybe that's not fair 100%, but maybe it's like 99% fair. So can we go with the 99% fair? And kind of be like, there's like some small, minute percentage of cases where the white person is not benefited as much as the person of color. And like, maybe that's okay sometimes, right? So these two concepts, Fed jacketing and what was I talking about? Sorry about that. Okay, these two concepts, Fed jacketing and reverse racism, they're just two things that if you want your situation to go smoothly, you just avoid. Okay? So like, yeah, like that one guy, you might have a creepy feeling about him that some shit is up with him. But don't say anything. Just keep that shit to yourself. Like, if this guy is a Fed, you're not gonna find out until it's too late. So don't like fuck up your whole group in the meantime. Same thing with reverse racism. In the very few instances that reverse racism happens, and it does happen, it's an unimportant byproduct of creating a system that is more fair 99% of the time. It's counterintuitive, I know, but this is what applied scientists have figured out. Thanks for listening.